Hey, everybody. There's been a lot of talk and conversation about my divorce, and people have been asking if I'm going to make a response. As much as I don't want to do that because I'm a very private person, it makes me very uncomfortable. I'm just going to take this opportunity to respond real quick, with kind of what's in my heart about this whole thing, in my mind, for what it's worth. And as a doing what I do, doing being in this industry in which we all are, I understand that there's a lot of public interest, that comes along with, being in the spotlight from time to time. And, but I just want to emphasize that, I'm definitely still a human being, and I'm going through a very, deeply personal experience of loss and grief. And, there's a lot of speculation, and I know curiosity that may arise, and there is, and it's out there. This has been what was a private journey for my family and I that now has unfortunately been made public, with details, that should have never been shared publicly, and that makes me very sad for my children, really, and just for my children, not for me, but for my children. I've seen a lot of pretty horrible things that have been said, and but there's been some good stuff that's been said, some kind stuff, and some prayers, and I appreciate those. Um, there always has to be a balance with these things, and right now there's a large imbalance. Look, I'm not gonna speak poorly of anyone. That's how I was raised. We were raised that way. My brothers and I. That's what I've taught my children. And I'm not gonna start now. So I'm gonna do the right thing here because that is what I feel is best. I will say that I actually did have a very successful marriage for 15 years. To the mother of my two older daughters. And we grew apart in certain ways, and we knew ultimately that growing old together was not going to probably be in each other's best interest. But we had a very good marriage, and to this day, we're very good friends, and we always put our children first, and that's a testament, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. You know, I literally do everything I can for my family. I always have, and for my daughters especially. It's the greatest honor that I have, and I've been doing this 43 years. And despite the fact that I've been in the public eye for a long time, I'm actually a pretty private person. That's why you don't see a lot about my life, my personal life, very little bit compared to the spotlight that I've been in for as long as I've been in it. And that's on purpose. That's because that's what I feel is best. And I've been able to let my two older daughters, grow up for the most part, not in the spotlight, and they've been able to live their lives and do their thing. And I'm so proud of them, because of that. It's so funny because I've been known for comedy, right? And we've all been, had a lot of opportunities to make people laugh throughout my career so far. And in our family, like we've said on this show, we always resort to comedy as a family, and to get through tough times, and it feels good. But there have been a lot of tough times, in my personal life. We've been through a lot of stuff, a lot of sadness there. I don't talk about it though because I don't want to burden people with my problems, to be honest with you, because I know that people are going through a lot of stuff out there, and a lot of people have it a lot worse than I do, and I don't feel like it's just not my place to bear my burden on them. So I deal with it myself privately with my family, and that's what we've always done. Despite the incredibly anxious nights and all those things that you have, the ups and downs, the highs and the lows of what I've been doing my whole life, and the stuff that I've been through, the worries that I have providing for my children, and the ability just for me to be able to continue to do that, and my responsibilities that I take so seriously. And there's a lot of fear there that I try to replace with faith, but that's the journey, and it's not always easy to do that. So I do fall short sometimes, and that makes me sad. I'm not a perfect person, that's for sure not. Um, but what's happened lately is, you know, is just not okay. I try to protect my children at all costs, and what's been going on lately is just not okay. This has been a multifaceted journey these last 4 or 5 years, um, and actually there was a lot of pain involved in that journey, despite what it looks like and what the public perception of it is. Um, and what's going on right now, there's so many things that are just not true. Um, Look, I love the idea of loving someone. I'm definitely a hopeless romantic, and I absolutely I crave that. I strive for that, and that unfortunately opens my heart up to wanting to help and be there for people in ways that I'm not capable of, and I try to do my best, but like I said, I fall short. I should have never let my personal life these last 4 years become as public as they have been. That's not who I am. People in my inner circle know that. My brothers know that. We've had conversations about it, and honestly, I gave up full control of my private life these last 4 years, and that's all on me. And I'm very upset at myself for doing that because Dylan didn't deserve that. She doesn't deserve that. I don't like any of it, and it makes me extremely sad. And I feel like if it hadn't been so public, then there wouldn't have been a platform, for everyone to just sort of, jump all over this and, run away with these theories and stories that are around. Like I said, the facts that are at the heart of this, and I'm just very saddened by that. It will never happen again. It will not happen again. It was an aberration, and I'm very upset with myself that I let it happen like that. Just really disappointed. But this will all, life will move on, and we'll move through this, and my children will be at the forefront. And despite what you read and what you hear, I have always and will always be the best dad I possibly can be, and I will take care of my girls till the day I die, and I will cherish them and honor them and do my best by them. Not perfect, but I will do my best by them for sure. I just, I love you guys. I'm so grateful that you guys have supported us the way you have, me and my brothers, for all these years. I'm sorry if some of you are disappointed in me, but I am a person that goes through real things. This is certainly one of them. And the way that my life has been portrayed is just these last 3 or 4 years is not accurate. And like I said, I take responsibility for a part of that, for allowing that to happen. And I'll just leave it at that. Last thing I'll say, just because I think it's important to say, and I talk to my girls about it constantly, being girls and going through high school, and it's just the bullying, the constant bullying, the constant just display of super unkindness. We all have to have compassion for everybody. I think it's extremely important. You don't know what it's like to be in somebody's shoes, no matter what those shoes are. You don't know. It's not a life you live. It's not your life. You can't judge. You can have your opinions, but you can't judge, because everybody has a story and a journey, and no one's living their life but them. So, anyway, I know people have wanted me to respond, so I'm not good at that, but I did the best I could, and that's that. So I don't have anything else to say about it. Anyway, love you guys, and love you guys. Thanks for being here with me, fellas. Through thick and thin, man.
Yeah. Hey, man, always. That's what family's for.
Yep.
That's why families are so important. Because when things are good, hey, it's easy.
Yeah.
But when things are bad, you learn who truly loves you, who are your real family and friends. And, that's what gets you through. And in the end of the day, money, fame, all these things, you're the most powerful, most famous people in the world. And when they're on their last days or breaths, they all say the same thing. None of it really matters. It's how you're remembered by the people that you loved, and the time that you get to spend with those people. And that's really the memories that you made. Those are the most important things in life. I feel bad because, it also brought up this last couple of weeks has brought up something that I went through 2 or 3 years ago when I got divorced. And, I had always had a very private life until that relationship. I should say my relationships. Nobody knew who I dated, what was happening in my life, what was going on.
Well, we were all private like that. I mean,
Very private,
like I said, I was married 15 years. There's a handful of pictures of me with Chandy and the girls out there, and we did that on purpose. And
on purpose.
Even when we got divorced,
our private lives.
I mean, we had 15 years of stories, Chandy and I, and none of it came out because that was our journey, our personal journey that we went through.
For sure.
And I really respect I respect her for that, and that was
Yeah.
something that we chose, and we protected our girls that way.
Yeah, exactly.
And because really the children pay, and that's what makes me so sad about what's been going on here of late is that Dylan will read all this one day, and
Of course.
and
Yeah.
it's just
Absolutely.
it's horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the exact same. I mean, I didn't have any kids. I had a small dog, and it's crazy because I got a glimpse of what it's like, and how all the things they always talk about how in divorces what kids go through.
Yeah.
And how sometimes they are turned into pawns.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched that happen with a little dog that I had.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't imagine what it's like to have kids. That was always the saving grace. It was like, man, I'm so thankful that no children were brought into that situation. So I can't imagine what you're going through. And it's really tough. And I think the other thing is, and I think I match you with that, is that I didn't jump into the fray, even though all these nasty things are being said about me personally and my things, because I think the biggest part of that is that there are two people. There are also two people's families involved. And so for me, it was like, for me to jump into that fray, I would had to expose other personal things about my relationship, about the partner I was with, their family, my family. Where does it end?
Yeah, there's collateral damage.
Major collateral damage. So I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't handle myself the best way I could have exiting that relationship.
Yeah.
Even though it was for the right thing.
Absolutely.
It had to happen.
Yep.
I wish I would have handled myself differently. And I also don't blame, going through that. I don't know if you feel this way, Joe, but going through that, people would come up to me, obviously friends and people that I worked, and they were like, man, I can't believe this is happening to you. I'm like, you know what? Let's have compassion for everybody. When people are hurt and things happen in a relationship, things are going to get said, a lot of things that maybe even everybody doesn't mean. There's going to be sometimes people get out their emotion and their hurt with anger, and you got to have compassion for that. Just as I want you to have compassion for, Joe and anybody else who goes through anything like this, whether it's private or publicly. You got to have compassion for both sides and understand that, there's pain and hurt on both sides. And unfortunately, the picture that is painted is generally, most of the time, completely inaccurate.
Yes.
Fortunately.
Yes.
And I learned that firsthand. And I also learned through all that, I'm going to have to not care so much what people think.
I know.
You know what the truth is. I know what the truth is.
Yeah.
As long as our family and friends understand.
I mean, you guys know everything.
Of course, you guys know everything about me. Everything, literally everything. You put out, and this is what we'll do going forward. We will continue to put ourselves out there the way we have done for, a long time.
All of our lives.
Yeah.
All of our lives since we were kids. And we'll continue to be in this. We hope everybody will continue to follow us in this journey. Understand that we are people.
Yeah.
Yep, we're not perfect. We make a lot of mistakes.
Tons.
I've made a lot of mistakes.
Me too.
And let me just come in here and say that for everybody out there, I'm going solo. The Andy Lawrence solo pod is on. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding, guys. No, come on.
Poorly timed joke. Yeah.
No, it's not poorly timed joke. I'm lighting the mood a little bit because I got to say, like, realistically though, truthfully, and yes, I'm biased, but the way we were raised, my brothers, there's no better guys out there. There's no better dad than Joe. It literally is.
That's true.
His kids are on his mind 100% of the time, of every second of every day.
I'm sure a lot of these decisions were based on those.
And if you look, and for both of you guys, stories are out there, and people are so easily keen to jump on to the wrong train and ride it as long as they can because of whatever nonsense reason. But like you said, you're people. Everybody makes mistakes. We're an imperfect species. All we can do is really strive to do our best and try our best. And we were raised with integrity and morals and standards, and we truly try to uphold those every second of every day. And you can't be perfect. And the flaws for some reason are magnified, but look at the facts and look at the history, you guys. You guys are good dudes, and I know you're feeling it, and I love you, and I'm sorry that it's been amplified and put on, under a magnifying glass. But we're a really private family. We don't like to air out our laundry. Matt always says, we like to take our wins and losses in private as a family.
Yeah.
And it sucks that everything is so accessible, and people are just so willing to believe nonsense. But with that being said, we really appreciate everybody's support, and we really appreciate the people that are standing by us and that are are willing to support us and have supported us for over 30, 40 years. So
I appreciate
that's my
that.
rant.
I appreciate that, guys.
That's my ad.
I appreciate
My
it.
2 cents.
I appreciate it.
Boom, mic drop. So
I-
Andy Lawrence Pod coming
I
to you. No,
just-
I'm just kidding.
It's
My chance. It's my chance, guys.
such a
I'm gonna dump the older two.
Sweep the leg. Yeah. Come on.
I am. I'll just say this. The last thing I'll say is that the thing that really breaks my heart more than anything about this is that, like, I guess everybody has a right to, in this new age, right? I'm not used to this new thing where everything is, displayed in a social media type of environment, and I appreciate social media. I appreciate its benefits, but there's something very wild about just, sharing everything at all times. And it's something that I don't know if I'll ever get used to it because it's not my generation, But what really, really makes me the most sad is that I feel like you can do that, and people have a right to do that as adults. But it just makes me so sad when there are children involved, and those children are included in those moments where you're presenting, your version of, your journey. Present your version of your journey. That's okay. But don't include your children, because their journey is just beginning, and they're not aware of that decision and how that'll affect them. And it breaks my heart. Like, it makes me so sad because
Well, I think we're super sensitive to it because
we're products of parents who went through a divorce, which was not
that
fun.
No,
You know what
it's
I mean?
not
It was
fun.
a real.
that is
real
well,
tough one.
yeah,
It was a
because
real tough one.
fractured our whole,
Yeah.
blew up our whole family unit.
Yeah.
But I think on top of that, I think why we're also super sensitive of young people with their lives on display is because we started so young. We didn't have a choice,
Right.
when it comes to our lives being on
on
display.
display. Right.
And I think
And that's why
the
we
one
maintained
thing-
so much privacy as much as we could.
And I think that's the one thing.
It means a lot, honestly.
Well, it's the one thing as an adult that you have some regrets about,
Yeah.
because you didn't get to, people are looking to you as if it was your career. Those were the choices that you wanted to make,
But you
and they
didn't-
weren't.
No.
Not as a child, not
No.
until I was 15, 16,
Right.
maybe even 17 years
Right.
old.
Did
that
you
I
even
actually,
really think about, you actually had a say?
Yeah, I
and
got to
kind of-
actually try
Right.
to guide a career
Right.
and finances at that point.
Right. And
That's not the way it is. So I don't have any children, but if I did, I'd be super protective over.
so you can
how they
understand
would
how,
want
you can understand how I'm
Yeah.
feeling right now, just because
I can totally
because
imagine.
Dylan is all over the place, and I'll just
Yeah,
say
it's
it.
So it's ridiculous.
It breaks my heart. It literally breaks my heart. And where I get really upset at myself is that like I said, I allowed, the last 3 years of my life to be portrayed, out there, and, and sometimes it was not accurate, and I knew it. And, and I still allowed it to be portrayed a certain way. And that's on me. The problem is when it comes to Dylan and her being portrayed out there, I feel like it, in my opinion, that it's a betrayal as well, because she doesn't have a voice yet. And there's a journey that's been started for her out there that she has no say over, and that's not right. It's not right. But
Yeah.
It makes me very sad.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
That's the
I said,
stuff.
like I said, I was
You were able to insulate.
Charlie
all the
and
things-
Libby.
Yeah.
out of
I was.
everything that I went through. Because, man, I'll tell you, I can't reiterate this enough. Whether it's the right decision, whether you want to and you have to, divorces are the freaking worst. I am still trying to shed the baggage and the bad will that I had towards myself
Me too.
out of this
Look,
ridiculous situation that I went through. And you know what's funny? The only thing at this point that is still really hammering me is the dog. You know?
You can imagine.
I can't. That's what I'm saying. I can't imagine if it was real human babies and that were involved in this.
Well, like I said, and I've never said this before, because people are like, "Oh, it's his third divorce. This guy, it's all he does." And right, okay. Well, and I've never said this, but the first time I got married was in the throes of a divorce with our family, right? Our mom and dad.
Yes.
And I'm not going to speak too much about it, but I will say, just to give some context, because unfortunately, it just has to be said at this point in time. That was me grasping, trying to keep a family unit together. I'll never forget it. And I know Annie knows this, and is that, he came to me because Annie was young,
Yeah.
What were you, 12, 13? You came to me and said, like, what are we going to do? Like, where are we going to have Christmas? I remember that when mom and dad were going through it. And I said, I always took a lot of responsibility, feeling like I wanted to provide an additional layer than just being your brother, especially your like biggest brother. And I just said, okay, all right, we're going to make it work. We're going to have a family home so everybody can gather for Christmas and Thanksgiving. And we're going to do it. And in my immaturity, I went out and created a facade in my own mind that I found somebody great to do that with, and it was a nightmare. And that's why it only lasted a year, and it was really stupid. And that's what that was. Like I said, with Chandy, I was actually very proud of that. We were high school sweethearts. We went through our own journey, got back together, and we had a very successful marriage for a long time. It didn't ultimately, I want her to be truly happy, and I want to be happy. And we were able to make each other happy to a certain extent as we grew, because we had met so young, but not ultimately, and it's important. But she's a great lady, and I'm proud of what we did together, and we raised two really great girls.
Awesome
that I'm really proud of.
They're the best.
Charlie is just exploding at college, and Libby's exploding as a freshman in high school, and I'm so proud of them. But we were able to keep it private, and I really respect Chandy for doing that, and I know she respects me for doing that, because obviously me doing what I do, it'd be very easy to just include them in things, and we just don't,
Yeah.
And very respectful. And that's what happened with that one. And in this situation, coming out of a, incredibly long relationship with Chandy, I was a weakened person. And, like I said, loving the idea of a committed relationship, because out of a relationship, I mean, as the classic, formula there would be like, okay, I've been in a marriage for 15 years, when somebody's 17, known them 35, okay, now I'm going to go out and it's my time. It's time for me. It's time for me to do what I need to do, right? See if I can date again, see if I can do these things. I didn't do any of that. I literally love the idea of a committed relationship so much that even in a weakened state, fell into a committed relationship, and I was not ready for that. And the ideologies there did not line up, and then therefore I gave away and compromised a lot of my own personal beliefs that I had lived by for my whole life, and and allowed a perception of me to be put out there that was not always true. And that's where I'm really upset at myself. And then was blessed with Dylan, despite all of that, and now Dylan is subject to that same, portrayal without having a say. And that's the stuff that I'm just so upset about.
Yeah. The good thing is that's not who you are. So over time, Dylan, as she gets to know you more, she will understand that. And your two older girls understand that clear. They know what the truth is.
I know.
So you don't have to worry about that.
I know.
Yeah, and I think that I know how much that Charlie and Libby respect you and love you, and appreciate your love and your actions and your sacrifices for them. They definitely do. And it speaks volumes,
Yeah, I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. So I just there's no way to put stuff back in the bag, especially with Dylan. So I don't know. I just hope that I always say, right, that expression we have in our family, like cooler heads will prevail, and I really hope that. I just hope that when cooler heads prevail, that there will be, that that blanket put back over Dylan's life for a while, so that she can grow up in peace and figure out who she is, and just live a life without exposure for a while, because I feel like every child deserves that, and I really hope that that's the case. I really pray for that, honestly.
I also know that from my own experiences as a product of divorce, and I think that eventually kids will form their own opinions with on their parents, and I get the hurt and a fractured family unit and all this stuff, and and you got you get the mom feeling one way and the dad feeling one way, and they try their best, but people are people, right? So it's like you can't always expect everybody to make the right decisions and say the right things, and but even with the influence, and even with a exaggerated influence, meaning all this nonsense and stories and people running with stuff and saying the wrong things, and eventually, I know, like 100% know, rest assured that your actions and the way you will treat her and the way you will live your life as her father, there is no doubt in my mind that she will love you and respect you and feel the same way that your other two daughters do about you.
I appreciate that. Thanks, buddy.
And I know that it sucks because you're literally just standing there and people are just punching. You know what I mean? It's like, it's ridiculous. And I can't imagine about other people that live their lives in front of as an entertainer, or live their life. I mean, my gosh, like wow, I feel for everybody, because there are always multiple sides to a story, and it's wild to think that as we just haven't evolved enough as people to catch on to that and understand that, and that we're not at a place where we just want some peace and strive for love, and but I guess we're just not there yet. Hopefully we will be.
Well, I think it comes down to this. I know, I mean, I've even experienced this sometimes. If you're not having the best day, or you're not in the best place in your life, and you read about somebody who's maybe a celebrity or someone you think has this type of lifestyle, and they're going through it. It tends to make you feel a little better about yourself if you feel like they're going through something harder, and then you jump on that bandwagon.
Well, no, I mean, even that, but that's one thing. But like to contribute
I'm just saying that's a part of all this, and I'm even guilty of that as well. Like, I'll read about some stuff and I'll be like, yeah, see, I don't have it so bad, and everybody loves to jump on, somebody, and that's just a part of human nature. And there's nothing, here's another thing that I've also experienced. I don't know if you experienced that. There's nothing, and this is not great, but there is nothing that anybody can say out there that I guarantee you I haven't said about myself to myself. So no matter how hard you think you're going at it at that, when I make mistakes, I'm 100 times harder on myself than anything that's out there. I take it very seriously. I know you do as well. We try to be role models. We try to do our best. We really do. We take that very, very seriously. We're not the type of people who are just like, yeah, I don't really care what. No, I really do take that pretty seriously. You have to understand that I feel responsible to, others, the way that I carry myself. I want to be a leader. I want to be the type of person that you can look towards. Not just talking about everyone out there. I'm talking about you two guys. I'm talking about my nieces.
Yeah.
I'm talking about anybody else that I love and respect. I want people to be able to look to me and go, hey, that guy is a good, moral human being. That means everything to me. It means more than fame. It means more than money. It means more than anything. So when that comes into question, no matter how much you see me in publicly, either not say anything or continue to just work and do anything, believe me, it affects me on a very deep level. Oh, yeah. And I know it affects you as well. I would just say that look at your own life.
Oh, yeah.
As you're commenting on somebody else.
Well, yeah, and don't let your hurt fuel the hate. You know what I mean? Don't let just approach things with love, and I think everybody would be a lot better off, including yourself, And this isn't fun either. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, we weren't like, let's go sit down and have a conversation for everybody about our personal business.
No, it's literally the last thing on.
You know,
Let's
talk about.
Look, I've never experienced anything
Planet.
like this.
No, I know.
I've
Let's
never
talk about
experienced
your hardships and
I
what you're going
honestly-
through. Let's air out our family, like
I
my
honestly-
parents' divorce, which is like the worst thing we've ever been through. You know, like what?
Oh, yeah.
Like
Look,
we don't want to have to do this, but we will because
And
we
we
really,
lost-
we really.
years, maybe even a decade of family time and life together.
Yeah, I didn't talk to
because
my
of a
dad
divorce.
for-
yeah.
4 and 5 years.
Yeah.
So
You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I never experienced anything like this. I never thought that, no matter what happened, because like I said, I mean, with Channing and I, we went through so much for so many years, raising kids, like,
oh yeah.
and all the trials and tribulations, bankruptcy, and I mean, really tough times, and even though we went through that and we went through a divorce during COVID and,
Yeah.
and even still through all that, like we both maintained, a certain, ideological view of what we wanted to do by our children, and I'm so thankful to her for that.
your kids too.
For- well, it's all for them. It's not for you.
Yeah.
It's for them. Like I'm an adult. I can take it. Like you said, I can stand there, but it's them. You know what I'm thinking about more
Wow.
than anything else? I'm thinking about right now in this current situation, it's stirring up a lot of hurt. My older daughters,
Of course.
obviously, but I'm thinking about Dylan and her reading all of this stuff because
Yeah.
she will, because it'll live forever. And that's her,
Yeah.
it's just, I just never thought that it would be handled this way,
Yeah.
And like I said, you can explore your own personal journey. If you want to do that in a public way, I don't see the value in that, in my opinion. But I will respect that somebody else wants to handle it that way.
But leave the kids out
But
of it.
handling that in that way, and expressing your journey, your emotional journey, but including the children in that is, it really makes me so sad. I don't have any other words for it. I never thought that would be handled that way, despite what you want to say about me. Say anything you want about me, but don't do that. Don't do that with the children, because it's just they don't have a say in that. It makes me really upset. So.
Well, yeah, you can't do it. But I mean, I don't know if this is what you're dealing with, but for me, it's like, I guess the thing that I would really love to have done better on is when you know that there are serious problems in a relationship, that after you've gone through therapy and things aren't getting fixed,
Right.
to have the strength to go and admit defeat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you can get married to fill a void or replace
Yeah,
something. You
that's
know
a
what I mean?
huge
Like,
Can't
that's
do it.
not.
You can't do it.
Huge problem.
It's
Can't
like
do
the antithesis of marriage.
It
You got to
is.
get married because
It
it's an
is.
added value.
It
It's a
is.
partnership that's going to be a collaborative
It
add,
is. It is.
not something that is
Not
forced
something because you feel.
or you feel like you need it.
Yeah.
It's about the
Or-
one, not
or-
it.
Yeah.
You're not.
You're right, Andy.
You're not marrying marriage. You're marrying a person.
Well, you've learned from a lot of mistakes that Matt and I have made. So.
for sure.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something that has really changed my life, and that is getting the chance to meet someone who inspires you in so many different ways.
Yeah.
And I never, it's funny. I'm reading a book now that I wish I would have read a long time ago. It would have really made my understanding of marriage,
Yeah.
the journey of a relationship, and it's based in faith,
Yeah.
and how we need to stop looking at whatever religious book you want to read. A lot of them, they're the stories of, it's almost like a guide as to how to not to get into these kind of soul crushing events in your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we stopped it and really thought about that, stopped looking at it as like it's this religion and you got to do this. All I could say is I wish I would have known these things, because there is no way I probably would have had not only the marriage that I had, but even some of the other relationships and how I, handled myself in those relationships. It's just all so clear now. When you live for the only way to find yourself is to lose yourself. And what that really means is you can't go into a marriage unless you're willing to go in it to literally serve the relationship and serve the other person. And it's not just about you and the other person in that relationship, because that's not strong enough to bind anybody. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah. You really do need to answer to a higher power, and you have to understand that is also in that relationship. And this is something that is, without it, I don't know how you navigate a real relationship.
Well, and you love them, and you love their family, and you love their children if they have them, and you love all of them the same. But even at the end of the day, it's like if you love someone, then you love their family, and you love them unconditionally.
Of course, everything is.
And you love their children
because that is who they are.
Because
someone's family is who they are.
That's just what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is no separation there.
No,
nobody's perfect, but you love them. You love them unconditionally, and there is no judgment.
No.
You're there to support the person that you love, that you're in love with, as they deal with the people that they love, and you love them unconditionally, and that's just the way it's got to be. And if you're not prepared to do that, then it's not. Then don't do it.
No.
And and that was just yeah. So.
Well, I love you guys very much.
I love
Joe,
you too, man.
We're obviously in your corner. We love you. We love you out there. We really appreciate you standing by us.
Oh my gosh,
we appreciate the years and years and years of endless support.
Absolutely.
It's really it's what keeps us going, and it keeps us coming back here.
I really do appreciate everybody, and I want to say that I'm sure this will continue for a while, but I just pray that you guys just try to understand that it's such a private journey, and we'll we're just going to do the best we can, and I'll make sure that the best is done by Dylan, and obviously like I have for Charlie and Libby. So.
Yeah, they're the most important thing. Absolutely,
most important thing. Anyway,
thank you guys. Love you very much.